So, okay, setting up a meeting and setting up a registration meeting. So I'm going to go to my Zoom account. So go to zoom.us and click on my account. I'll do this within the Skojec account. So go to meetings and we're going to schedule a meeting. You all know how to do this because if you've got an account, you'll have scheduled your own meetings. Click on schedule a meeting and we'll call it practice meeting, and we'll have it on the on Thursday at 6 o'clock for 1 hour, and we'll have it recurring every week for 4 weeks. Okay, and registration is required. And if you click on registration is required, you have these options. Attendees register once and can attend any of the occurrences. Attendees need to register for each occurrence, or they can register once and can choose one or more occurrences to attend. So I think we'll have them like this one. For this, we'll have you register once and you can come to any of the 4 of them. Okay, and we're not using a template. We'll keep the security passcode as just the code that it is. We'll have a waiting room, and then we'll have a look at the options. We'll mute participants on entry. We'll be covering breakout rooms at a future session, and there's a really nice thing about pre-assigning breakout rooms that we'll cover another time. We'll request permission to unmute participants. That's really handy, so that if somebody's you can see their mouth moving and they're not talking, it's very nice if the host can unmute somebody. And that's all we need. And then we're going to save that. Somebody's whistling. Do you think you could all please mute yourselves? Save me trying to guess which one of you it is that's whistling. Thanks. Whoever has done that, that's perfect. So now we've got the practice meeting. I'll go back to meetings on the left-hand side. We'll find our practice meeting, which is tomorrow at tea time, and you just click on that. And now we're going to have a look at the registration options. At the bottom, here is the place where you can put in some interesting registration questions, and then you can find out who's actually coming. So registration, manage registration, you've got registration options and you can edit those. So it's either automatically approve or manually approve. And the times in Jewish organizations when you want manual approval, it's quite, if you think, if it's going out to the public rather than just your membership, and you want to know who's going to be turning up to this thing with the Israeli ambassador or whatever it is, it's really quite handy to have a manually approved registration system. And it's handy to have sending an email to host when someone registers, and you can change the email, you can change the person that gets that email. You can restrict the number of registrants if you want. It's useful to let them join from multiple devices like Sammy. And then you save all of that, show social share buttons on registration page. Probably not, we probably don't want you to share it all on Facebook. And then we save all that. That's the registration options. Then there's email settings. And here we can edit, we can change the email that it goes to. So instead of going to Zoom at Skojec, which is the default one, I'm going to have registrations going to Fiona at Skojec. And we'll just have a look at the confirmation email to registrants, meeting topic confirmation. And here you can write in, hi, this is info about the test meeting. We're all going to have a lovely time when we arrive, or whatever. So that's a personalized thing. And then please don't, you always need to put this onto the email, please don't share the link below, because that puts you in, that is your personalized link. If you click on join meeting, you get your name as your when you arrive in the meeting, whereas, or the name that you registered with. Please don't share the link below, instead ask people to register. And then you can send them the registration link. So then we go down a bit and we save that, and you put a best wishes, Fiona, best wishes and see you soon, Fiona, and then Skojek, and then you can put your SKIO number or whatever you want to add, and then down the bottom here you save it, if I can get as far as saving it. So there's registration, there's email settings, there's branding. So on here you can put your logo on everything. There's polls, which we'll do at another session if people want to. There's live streaming, which I know quite a lot about. We can do at another session, live streaming onto YouTube and Facebook, so that if you don't want to pay the 80 quid to get more than 100 people, or if you don't want people participating up front with you, they can just watch it like a concert as a non-speaking audience on YouTube or Facebook. So back to registration, and we're going to put in some optional questions here. So let's have registration options, edit, questions, and you can choose which. They have a set of questions which you can put in. So last name is definitely required, and then if you want, you can have optional address, city, postcode, phone number, and you can make those required if you want. So I'll have the city is required, and then I've got the same problem about I can't see the share because of all my there you go, right. Then you save. Then questions and comments is a really useful one. So if you tick questions and comments, people can ask you extra things, and you save that. And then we're going to go back in and put in one custom question. So registration, options, edit, custom question, create your own question. Okay, if you've got the Israeli ambassador coming, you might want a custom question that proves that it's somebody that you want in that room. So give me a question that you might use as a security check.
What's the capital of Israel?
Okay, good one. Actually, that's really difficult, isn't it? If they get the right answer, they get in. If they get the wrong answer, they don't. Well, I don't even know what it is today.
I'll say Tel Aviv.
Is it? Okay. Anyway, a question like that, and then you know, you could have all sorts of answers for that one. Then you save, or you can ask whatever question you want, and you can have that question required or not required. But it's useful for a security check. It's useful to have any question, even a question like what is 3 + 4, and that obviously.
We used to use it to ask people how they found out about us, which was quite useful.
Yeah. Right, any questions you like, and then you save all. And how do you get people to fill in those questions? Well, you go back to the meeting itself at the top, and you click on copy invitation, and you would cut and paste all that, put it into your email address, into your email browser, but I'm just going to put it into the chat now. So I'm going to put this my registration document into the chat, and if you want, you can all click on that, and if you click on that and register for it, I will then give you 2 minutes to register for it. I'll then show you the registration report. I've got 9 people registered. Well done. Okay, thank you. So now I'm going to share my screen again and show you where to get the registration report. So to find out who's registered and what you can find out about them. Okay. So here we are again. So you can see my screen, can't you? So it now says under registration that we've got 9 registrants and that none of them are approved. So we'll edit that. And there's David Samuels, Evie, AB, David, Philip. And like I've said, kind of try not to look at the email addresses. So I think I know David Samuels, and I know Evie Yed, and I know AB, and I know David, but David Neville, I don't know who he is. So I'm going to have a look at the questions that he's answered. So I've just clicked on his name, and here we have the city. He's in Edinburgh. That sounds all right. Capital of Israel, Jerusalem. 3 + 4 is 7. And he found out about this online. So I'm going to approve that. So that's fine. We approved 1 registrant to attend the meeting. It says there. So that can close. I'm going to approve all the others. So you edit that. You can put a little tick in the bottom, in the top there. So I'm going to approve everybody's registration. So now you should all get an automatic email to your emails to say that you're approved to come to this meeting, which by the way won't be happening. So in order to see people's answers, you can either do that again, you can click on it individually, but it's a bit of a faff if there's 100 people and you don't want to be doing that. So instead of clicking on each one individually, you could also run a registration report. So for that, you go to settings, and then you go down to account management, and then you go down to reports, and then you go to meeting, and then view registration reports and poll reports for meetings. And you have to put in the dates that you're interested in. And my meeting is tomorrow, isn't it? So let's, so we want to go to the 3rd of March, and we're going to search, and there's a practice meeting there. So let's generate a report of all the registrants. So press continue. And that's processing. So in a minute it will be ready. And you can imagine it will be ready. And here's one we had earlier. So I'm going to download the registration report for this Zoom meeting that we're actually in now. So this is, let me just close all the emails and the addresses and everything. So this is the registration reports that we had for the people that are registered here. And you've got all the answers to all the questions that we've asked for, like, was there anything specific you'd like to cover? Would you say your Zoom skills are intermediate, basic, beginner? Anything else you'd like to add? So we've got, so with the report, it gives you all the responses to the questions that you've asked. So it's a very nice way of finding out who's registered for your meeting. Next thing, the last thing that I'm going to do is the one about who was at your meeting, which is always useful to know. So going back to Zoom. Here we are. So I'm going to do share screen. Who was at your meeting? My account. Settings. Sorry, that's not what I want to do at all. Account management again, and then reports again, and then view active hosts, view meetings, participants, and meeting minutes within a specified time range. So in this one, you can see who was at a meeting. So you need to know, let's see, let's do last week's meeting. So we were here on Wednesday the 5th, So if I do a search, find out who was at all these lovely meetings, but I'm going to try and see who was at the Zoom drop-in, and this is just us. So you click on the blue number at the right and it gives you all the people that were at that meeting. So 2 things to learn there. One is nothing's secret. Everybody who owns the meeting, who hosts the meeting, knows exactly who was at that meeting and what the email address was that you registered for it. So you can't sneak into a meeting and go and watch and can't be found out unless you use a false email address. And secondly, really handy for security reasons and for following people up, that's where you can find out who was at your meeting.